And the first thing before we move on to the agenda, I would like to welcome our newest member of the commission. We have Cheryl Stevenson. Cheryl has a background in history and a master's degree, is that correct? So wonderful and welcome.
Thank you.
We're happy to have you here. Do you want to do roll call?
Yep. Cheryl Stevenson,
Here.
Ron Helmbolt,
Here.
Thad Taylor,
Here.
Lee Trucks, Catherine Kenny,
Present?
Angie Quinn.
Here.
Okay, the first item on the agenda then, the next item on the agenda is the election of a recording secretary. Apparently, we missed that step when we were appointing officers. So I need a motion to appoint Laura McKenzie.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we need a roll call vote?
There is one here if you wanted to do it that way.
Yes.
Okay, let's do the roll call vote.
Commissioner Stevenson,
Yes.
Commissioner Humboldt,
Yes. What am I asking?
It's a roll call for the nominating or the.
Okay. I was reading.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Kenny,
Yes.
Commissioner Quinn,
Yes.
Commissioner Trucks,
Yes.
Thank you. And now I need a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
And is there anybody who would like to report a conflict of interest today? All right, how about moving on to an approval for the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. And at this time, is there any public comment on the agenda-related items? Okay. And under new business, we have 388 First Street, where the house formerly stood next to the library.
Hi, my name is Julie Cerrone. I'm the Executive Director of Manistee County Library. I wanted to talk about a couple things today. The first is the property. This January, a house was demolished that the library purchased in 2009 for the purpose of expansion. So we are going to be expanding in stages. Right now, I don't know specifically what the expansion of the library will look like. We may, in the future, look at building off the back rather than making like an annex building in that same footprint. But it was important to us to make the space usable for the public. So when we originally talked about this, we talked to the county because the zoning was then handled by the county, and the possibility of us putting in a little pocket park, so a small park that would be accessible to everyone. There are some permanent features that we would like to put in there. Originally, we weren't exactly sure how permanent they would be, but after considering use of the park by everyone, it became apparent that we definitely need to put in a handicap accessible sidewalk to be ADA compliant. So one of the packets, it says Story Park on it, and you can kind of see some ideas of what the park will entail. But for the most part, it would be exactly what it sounds like, a story walk. So families could come, stop at different stations, and by the time they're done, they'd read a whole book. We have done this downtown with great success with area businesses. We're very active in the community. But one of the things that we're contending with is that the library is the first stop. That means the families that choose to read the stories have to make it down the hill, which is quite steep, and if you need mobility aids, it can be quite difficult. So this would be immediately adjacent to handicap parking. And in addition to that, we'd have other features. We would have different purposes, right? We want to make sure that everyone's story is told. So we want to make sure that we're telling diverse stories. We also want to make sure that we're supporting our local ecosystem. So we want to plant native plants. We've already talked to the Audubon Society about getting a plaque that designates a spot as a wild bird habitat. And we also want to do a butterfly way station to help our pollinators. So there's a lot of things we can do with this, but our main focus is always people, right? So we will have Wi-Fi that we will project into the park all the time. So if the library is closed, people can still access the internet from their own device or a device they check out from the library, so they can have internet access regardless of their ability to pay. We are always trying to close gaps, and poverty is a big one that we work on all the time. So we also want to install some features for children. Anything that we install, ideally we would like to be removable because we do have 6 locations that we run. So our Soundgarden equipment we might want to send out to Calava, so the kids there can play with it. So this is kind of our idea with the story park. The installation of permanent fixtures I see as being a sidewalk because it's needed. We also are looking at some irrigation. The front of the library is irrigated. We have a great lawn. The back of it isn't. So if we're going to, invest in a nice park, we want to make sure that we can, sustain the grass. So we're looking into irrigation also. We were looking at a covered feature, something that we can hold maybe some programs under. That could either be permanent or temporary. We also see this as an all-season asset for us. One of our biggest problems that we face is a lack of space. If you haven't been in the library in a while, please come in. Please come in and see me. I'd be happy to give you a tour, to show you around, tell you about things. But when the library originally bought the house in 2009, it was purchased because we lacked space to do things. And as an institution, we have grown exponentially in terms of our reach and our demographics. The annual report that you have, if you look at, I think it was maybe the second or third page, it shows you some stats about what we're doing, and all of those are up. And it's an extremely proud moment for me as an administrator to be in charge of an organization that is demonstrating the kind of growth that we are. But at the same time, growth also, there's challenges with everything, right? So we are challenged to find space for all the people that want to visit us. So having this park outside would also allow us to effectively do outdoor programming. We want to bring in a petting zoo for the kids. This winter, we're looking at reindeer for Christmas. We're looking at tie-dye programs. We've taught sword fighting classes for teens and adults. So we're doing a lot of amazing things, and having a space that is manicured and well-planned and developed would really help us be able to do more because we're very motivated to do more. So that's kind of the background on the park. So I'm not sure what the process is for getting approval for this, but that's really what we're looking for today. Does anyone have questions?
Yeah, I can see on the plan, and this is so easy to read, thank you.
Yeah.
I can see where the existing sidewalk is, and I can see where you're adding some more hardscape sidewalk off of the street and then also off the handicap access area on the back of it, but I'm not sure what the little dots are.
That's like a proposed path. We still need to contract, an actual person because we just kind of made this on our own to kind of show what we wanted, but it's like a winding, snaking path that will give us the amount of space to make it an actual walk to see the story. There's, I believe, 16 posts, so we have to make it long enough to fit all those in.
Sure. So one of the things that I think is kind of, I guess, essential about this particular site is when the historic district was created, it was a residential site. And so it would have had a residential relationship to the street and to the buildings next to it. And I think making it a green space that's primarily lawn, which is what you're proposing, is a good idea. I don't think that permanent, long-term, structures are going to be appropriate, at least not at this time. When you come back with what you might do with that space in the future, we'll have to think about it all over again. But it seems to me that this is a very responsible and respectful design, and I'm appreciating it. I think there's a difference between things that are going to have an impact in 20 years versus things that might not even be there. And it doesn't really look like any of this is designed to be there in 20 years. So, yeah.
So what you've proposed or what you've shown us in this package, is that the first iteration of this park? Or is this going to be the end result?
Originally, the house was demolished with the purpose of expansion. That was why it was purchased. But realizing now we have a lot of work that actually needs to be done on the building. So this is for us kind of like stage one of giving the public more. We're not able to do a full expansion right now, but we can expand by creating a open air place where we can provide services and access to the public. So in my mind, it is an expansion. It's kind of stage one of giving the public more. I did talk to an architectural firm that the library has worked with before, Quinn Evans. They do restoration architecture, and when I was originally talking to her about some ideas, the library was looking at it as we need to build in the place of the building we're taking down, right? Because we're not architects. We didn't, we were just thinking about the property that we had. And when I was talking to her, she said, I really think that we should think about this a different way. And she was talking about the feasibility, sustainability, cost, all these factors that would make it a better investment to build off of the back of the library where the loading dock area currently is. So if we were to expand, I could see us still keeping this space, however we choose to develop it, with a sidewalk and with park features.
I like the idea of thinking about it as like residential lawn plus. As
Yeah.
opposed to,
Yeah.
because it wasn't a park, so I think we need to
Yeah.
make sure like it doesn't look like it was there 100 years ago.
Yes.
As a park. So.
Yes, yes. Mhm.
I've got a question. When you talked about the story, would this story change like every month or every couple weeks?
Intermittently.
Okay.
We have a great children's librarian, so I don't try to get too much into what she does. But with the one downtown, it changes, I would say probably seasonally. Maybe
Okay.
a little bit more often if like there's a holiday coming up. We try to do, fun things for Halloween, fun things for Christmas.
Right.
So yes, the reason we selected the story walk equipment that we did is because it's weatherproof. Oddly, for some reason, some companies that make them aren't. It was important to us to be able to be easy to change and weatherproof. So these are both of those.
So if I were to travel to the other libraries that have this, it would be different there. So not one for all of them, or would it be the same story, or?
Right now, we will only have this in Manistee. We are
Okay.
looking at possibly expanding to the Arboretum in Wellston.
Oh.
But we would have to find a partner to be able to do that. But,
Okay.
we're always looking at different things, and one of the reasons we did go with this is that it does have the ability to be mobile. So if we wanted to send it to the Art Walk in Calava, we could do that. But I would be more inclined to buy another set so that, you know, I want people to have a consistent experience. So I don't want all of a sudden our story walk to be gone when we have a story park.
Right.
So I would want us to buy more.
Right. Now, I do want to let you all know that when she was welcome, they had donuts for the director, and I did attend that.
Yes,
And
we
while,
know.
yep, and while I was there was a family that had a child with disabilities, and she talked about the one child, you know, there's sometimes he's not allowed to come because of either things just not working out or not having a space or area that's adequate. But then her daughter, who does not have any disabilities, she was able to attend and go to the library. So it's hard for her to be able to go to the library. So they were talking a little bit about this, and this is kind of where the conversation was leading. And so just to sit there and to listen to the needs of parents that are out there right now, especially with children that do have disabilities. So I really thought this is a great idea, and that's why I welcomed her to come here today to talk about that and bring the information. Yeah.
Yeah, we tried to be very responsive to the community because we realize that our entire success depends on the community. I always tell people, you know, some people are worried about, well, how's the library doing with Google now? You know, are people even coming? And I'm like, we're doing well because we're doing everything together. You know, we're an extremely active and strong partner in the community, and we're the go-to for a lot of people. We're also the only stopgap that a lot of people have access to. So we do serve everyone, and we are always looking for new and different ways to be able to do that. And for me, as an administrator, this is a great way to offer something that we're not able to otherwise provide. You know, it's really important for people to have access to the internet, and for us to be able to project this into this park after hours can be the difference between somebody getting a job because they can get on Zoom or not. The library is really one of the only places where you can exist for free. And this is another, especially with our economic climate, we're seeing even more people coming to us because they're looking for ways to save money. They're having to drop subscriptions for entertainment, or looking at, you know, something free the kids can come to. And we're always excited to be able to provide more and to see new faces. That's the whole reason we're here.
Wonderful. I think it's a very appropriate use of the space and very important to the community, so thank you for your presentation. Does anybody else have any more questions?
I have another one.
Oh, you have
But
another-
I
go
want
ahead.
everybody else to go first, so.
So
Lee, do you have any questions?
Yeah, actually, a question about lighting and a question about the plants. For the lighting, I love the fact that it's solar. I love the fact that you're matching it to what's already in the parking lot. Does it also match what's actually on the facade of the library building itself?
So yes, we have lighting on the back, or sorry, the front of the building, on like the stair encasements that would match that. On the back, there was a addition that was paid for mostly by the Friends of the Library, and it's just kind of recessed down lighting.
And that's fine, because that's also an addition itself, right?
Yes, it's on the addition.
So it doesn't need to be. it
Yeah,
doesn't
that
need-
was from the 70s, so.
And then just finally, I love native plants.
Yeah.
I love herb plants. I noticed that the pictures of the native plants are not.
Oh,
But I love the fact that they all smell good, and when you're thinking about making it for everybody, scents, you know, smell, you know, olfactory stuff is also something that you can provide to people who are using the park who might not have the ability to come in and read a book.
yeah, yeah.
Sort of thing. So
Yes.
yeah, just another comment. So
Yes.
thank you for answering the lighting.
Yes, absolutely. We have reached out to the Black Cap Nursery out in Onekamatsu about plants, because I'm not a plant lady. I know I have a lot to learn. So I'm going to talk to people that already know.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great.
Would anybody like to make a motion to
I'll move.
accept the certificate of appropriateness or present it?
Did you say yes already?
Yes.
Okay, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Stevenson,
Yes.
Commissioner Helmbolt,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Trucks, Commissioner Kenny,
Yes,
Commissioner Quinn.
Yes.
thank you. And next on the agenda is the library again.
Again, surprise, you get more of
Welcome
me. Thank you so much for approving the story park. And my staff are going to be so excited when I get to tell them that we can move forward. So we have a lot going on. We have a lot going on. So what I've previously given you is I guess an assessment of our building that was professionally done by a firm out of Chicago that has experience with our types of buildings. We noticed this has been a problem for years, but because the building is so solidly built, it's been a problem that has been, just kind of passed on generationally, right? So one of the things that we noticed to know that there was a problem was that we have some spots in the basement that are interior walls that are dispersing water. So what that looks like is our walls are horsehair plaster. So in some places it looks like our walls are growing hair. So we were like, okay, well, this is weird, but I don't know. So we got an assessment done by this company who was very well rated. And what the problem is it was described to me as a phenomena, which, with the building, that's never good. You never want to hear that word. So what it is that water is from the ground being wicked up by the old bricks that are instead of sitting on the pad the way that the construction happened previously, the wall supports extend down below the pad that the library was built on. So that's wicking the water up and dispersing it on interior walls. It's not necessarily related to rainfall or anything like that. It's just how our building is. So there are remediation efforts that are planned for. They have a system for us that would be, I don't know exactly how to pronounce this, but I'll do my best. A bentonite injection that is a less invasive process that kind of glassifies the brick to stop the water from coming in. The other thing that was noted is that there is no drainage around the building anywhere that isn't the new addition because it was specifically put in when the Friends gave us money to support the redoing of the back entrance to make it more safe. It was discovered then that there's no drainage there, so it was put in there. But there's no drainage anywhere outside the building other than that. So that's another one of our problems. There's nowhere for the water to go, so it just goes under the building, and then it's dispersed. The other thing is that we're having water-related issues where to the outside of the building. Our limestone is shearing off. If anyone would like to see it in person, I can show you, but it's kind of gathering on the outside where the window wells are. You can see pieces of it. But the building was from 1905. It just needs work done. And we are invested in our building. We've had discussions about the public's expectation that the library at 95 Maple Street will always be a library. So knowing that, we're committed to investing the money to fix the building. But it really is something that needs to be done. So we would also be addressing the limestone, the different decorative parts of the building. We will also be looking at the stairs and the casements for the stairs. Another thing that would need to be done is there are no drainage systems in the window wells. So that would also need to be done. Right now, we're not really seeing a lot of issues with that, but with the other issues, we may not notice that that's where the problem is coming from also. It's just time. So we have done our work. We've gotten different bids. We've looked at different companies. We've had the benefit of having Mark Fetter on our board, who has been very helpful for historic buildings. We also were incredibly lucky to have Terry Bennett serving on our board, who has extensive background in commercial buildings. So I am confident that we did our best to find someone that is not only qualified, but will care about our building the way that we do. So that's kind of what's going on with that. If anyone has questions, I'll try my best to answer.
So basically, you're only talking about abatement of problems that have developed over the years. There's no change in any design or...
There's going to be repairs that could change. You know, it's hard to match. It's hard to match aging on a building, right? So if they're doing some decorative work, the colors might not completely match. They will do their best. They will be putting in drainage, so there will be an installation of drainage underground. I'm not completely sure right now what that's going to do for our landscaping and our lawn. But all of that, we can look at. But we do want the building to look how it does. We just want it to look better.
So there might be some inconsequential changes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Some cosmetic.
So I'm assuming Structure Tech has done restoration work before.
Yes. They're very well recommended.
So as I'm reading through this, honestly, I don't care about the inside because that's not what we do. And I don't care about what's underground because that's not what we do.
Okay.
But the limestone parapet wall, the repointing, they should be able to match that mortar. And not only in terms of color, but it needs to be the same kind of mortar. If you're using different kinds and, it's reacting to the limestone itself, if you don't have the same recipe, basically, it could be, like when we make cookies, like if you don't make it exactly the same, it's going to be weird and thin and oozy versus the way you really want the cookie to be when you cook it. So they should make sure of that. So it's close that with this kind of work, if they're experts, they need to match it. Okay. And then just a question about, there was something about sealant. I'm assuming they're just talking about caulk and the usual things they're not putting sealant of any kind on the visible limestone.
Not on the visible. I'm not sure about, I know the bentonite mixture would be something that would be like injected at ground level, so it wouldn't be something that's on like the outside visible.
Got it. Yeah, it's just making sure that mortar is matched, and then also with the replacing wood sills, you need to replace with wood sills. Putting in something else that someone might think is more durable, no, it needs to be wood, and it needs to be the same size and width, and that sort of thing. So, but I think they probably know that. The question is, how are we going to review that while the work is going on?
Right. Well, but obviously when they submit the plans, and then they would have their materials list, that's when I would bring it back and we would continuously review that.
Yeah.
Yes, I can definitely make sure we provide any necessary paperwork.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is when it comes to things like the mortar recipe, the SHPO might actually be able to have someone kind of look at what they're proposing and probably in 5 minutes with a phone call, tell them whether
Right.
or not that one makes sense or not.
Yep, okay.
Yeah. Cool, thank you.
So what's needed of the commission? Just an approval of the concept pending further detail?
The certificate of appropriateness that they had filled out that application to just move forward, and if this is something that you all would approve.
Materials and
Yep.
things like mortar recipes are.
Right, and we can,
Inspected.
and I can stipulate all of that for the certificate, absolutely. Yep,
Would anybody like to make a motion to that effect?
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Shall we do a roll call vote?
We didn't have any discussion.
Or do you want,
I'm not sure what the motion was.
Fix to approve the certificate of
Certificate of
appropriateness.
But
appropriateness.
was it with the understanding that we were going to get details in the future on what materials were being used and whether they were appropriate and that type of thing, or?
My understanding is that that's part of their certificate, is they have to give it to her for approval in the first place. And if she has any questions, she would bring it back to us, or she would go to the SHPO and just, because again, they're just going to be recipe questions probably.
yep, and then also at that same time, once that gets to that last step, we make them pay, and then I would issue the certificate. But I can also make sure all of that is in order, bring it back to you, just so we can review it one last time, and then we can, I can issue it. Yeah, but,
any more discussion?
Can you read the motion?
To approve the certificate of appropriateness, as long as materials list is approved by Community Development Director prior to construction.
I'm okay with
sound good?
Anybody else?
I have no questions.
Let's do a roll call vote.
Commissioner Stevenson,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Kenny,
Yes.
Commissioner Humboldt,
Yes.
Commissioner Quinn,
that. Yes.
Commissioner Trucks.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you
you.
for your support of the library.
Thank you for your time. Next on the agenda is the Michigan State Historical Preservation Office Annual Report.
Yes, so I received the information for the 2023 annual report. And as you know, with starting in October, I had to do my homework and did a lot of review. So I went back over the past year of 2023. I also reviewed 2022, and just wanted to let you know that reading through all of this and answering everything, I got some help from Catherine and from Angie both, just to confirm some issues, confirm some items. I do want to let you know that the training, we met the need and the amount for training. We do need to also, again, for this year, some of us just need to be familiarized with more training or get some more classes to attend. Let me see here. Some of the outside activities that they had asked about, kind of educational, just some of the highlights that I brought up were the walking tours that we have, the driving tours, also the historical museum. Another thing that I brought up was, let's see here, we've got the Manistee County Historical Site book that was produced by the Manistee County Visitors Bureau. So I included that. I included that we had 27 applications for certificates of appropriateness. They kind of wanted a detail of what we were mainly doing those for. Gave them a list of that. So we had new signs. What else? They had also asked maybe some of our achievements for the future. And I said that we would continuously seek improvement and respect for other businesses, expanding on our training and opportunities, and provide learning and guidance to future businesses in the historical district. So, yep, that was submitted. They had to be in on time, got all of that done and all the attachments to them. So that was done.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
I read through the
Having, like,
report.
For having no time on it. Actually, a comment, but I could make it under commission member discussion about that. So I've got some ideas for training.
Okay, great.
Okay, we'll do it under the other discussion. On old business, we have the shop at Heritage Square.
Yep, so as you saw that the canopy has been removed, he still is not sure what to do next or what the next step is. So just trying to work with him and have him come in. I don't know what some of the damage was done with them taking that off. I know that he talks still about a lot of leaks. So just kind of keeping updated with him, so.
So he will be bringing us some drawings as to
Yes,
what
oh,
he is-
absolutely,
Okay,
yes.
Good.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know his time frame. He's got a lot going on in the interior of that building, so I think kind of that's where his focus is right now, just getting after the canopy put down, or taken down, so.
Okay, great. Any questions about that?
I was in there Friday, and he was, I guess you'd say at first reluctant to talk about things that weren't going well, but then he took me into the area where they're working, and he explained why some things couldn't be done like he thought they would because of problems that he ran into. He was really good about explaining where he was at. But like you said, he's got a long ways to go.
Yes, he does.
And every time he tries something that's involved in the structure, he finds out that it's not exactly what he thought it was. So it's like stepping back and redoing things. But it's worth it to walk in there and talk to the guy because he's, he's making a heck of an effort, let's face it. And,
Yes.
and things may not be exactly perfect like his original plan, but he doesn't have any choice. This.
And our building inspector has been going in there probably about weekly just to meet with him and look at the drawings, make sure that he's on task and if he has any questions. So Jerry's been really good about doing that. So
Do we know how long he'll leave the beams exposed that are hanging out over the sidewalk?
I'm not sure because as he explained to me, a couple of the people that he talked to about the design, I mean, as we all know, everybody's stretched thin. Some people aren't getting back to him or it's delayed, so, yeah. So, but I had told him, we had talked about just 3 months. We need something, so he is aware of that.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
It's also worthwhile to go into the toy store.
That's what I've heard.
It's a very nice toy store. It's nice to walk in and it's not full of superheroes and, Disney this and
Right.
Marvel that. And
Yeah.
Classic toys, isn't it? Yeah.
Anita and her husband did a great job in there. Yeah,
Cool.
Nice addition to downtown.
yeah.
Are we ready to move on to the next agenda item? Is 435 River Street.
All right, so I'm going to turn this back over to all of you. I need some information and some concerns about 435 River Street.
Well, there should be a lot of information in the files.
Yep, that I've glanced through.
And basically, at this point, the commission gave him a time, and Catherine, I know you remember exactly how long that time was, to basically fix the inappropriate window replacement
Windows.
that he made.
Yep,
And he gave us his assurances, and we gave him a timeline, and I think we have now passed it.
Okay, so are we interested in having me discuss with him about extending the timeline, or have you already done that?
I would suggest you check with the city attorney, because at one time, it was in the court system, and that's all I know. So you might
Okay.
want to check and see if the courts have imposed any deadlines or anything
Okay.
else.
Yeah, and that's the other reason why I kind of put that on the agenda, so we can discuss this first. Because I can glance through this, but I just don't have all the background or everything else with it. So I will do that. Thank you.
And I think we really need to follow through with this. This has been on the agenda since 2021,
Right?
and nothing has been done. He put in the windows without a permit, from what I understand, as well as no certificate of appropriateness.
That's why I think it's a good idea to have a conversation with city attorney, and if it's not in the court system, or there isn't any resolution there, what are our options?
Correct. Yeah. Well, and also, I have a similar situation that I've been going with my planning commission. There's a property that has had 2 extensions, and I went to the attorney, but I said, that's it, we're done, we're not doing any more extensions, nothing has been done. A couple of things that were done were not appropriate, and said that's it. So he would have to start all back over again. So, but something like this with things that need to be changed or that were altered, yeah, that's a little bit different story, so.
It is and it's not. We are also a commission. We gave directions.
Yes.
They were approved. And there is a penalty for not following through on the property owner's part. So I
I
don't
think
know.
that's part of it. I think
Yeah.
this commission referred it to the city attorney.
And they sent
Okay.
it back to us.
Yeah,
And
I
so-
don't know.
And this has been going on for 3 years.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think the last time we met, there was a specific time period, and I don't remember if it was last February and we gave him 12 months, or if it was last January and we gave him 12 months. But I
Okay.
think we are, if we're not there, we're gonna be there within a few weeks.
Right.
It was like late last winter.
Okay. All right.
So do we need to take any action on that?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I see it as more of a follow-up.
Yeah,
I think we might take action next month,
yes,
not forward movement.
yeah.
Next item is permit review.
Yes, so if you turn to the very back of your packet, towards the back, I think it's the last 6 pages. The first one, it says permit report at the very top, and at the bottom, it said total fees, $1,550. So we'll just start with that first page there.
Now, these are for permits outside of the historic district
Yes,
also.
yep, they are.
I just questioned why we need to see those.
Need to see the ones
Okay,
outside the
well,
district, yeah.
okay, well, I just had included those, didn't know if you were ever interested or wanted that information, that's fine.
Personally, I'm not.
Okay, nope, that's fine. So what we can do is skip to, let's see, so, the permit report that had the 3 sign permits. So we've got that. And then I do want to explain on the next page where it says the certificate of appropriateness, the fees, and it says 0. This is when we were kind of transitioning everything over through BSNA. The money was taken in. It's just, the way that I had entered it was just a little bit different. So that's the only reason for that, so I have to update that and correct that. And then the other ones down below, yeah, just the parcel, we had a parcel combination and then resident land use. That was it.
So we don't have, other than the library, any new certificates that have been signed by Mark from the museum?
I don't believe so, of any,
I
no.
think it was just those ones for the signage, I believe.
Yeah,
And I'll work on this with you. I think what the commission would like to see is just maybe a list of permits that are still open and continued.
Okay, the open
Which
ones,
ones are
yes.
closed.
Yep.
If there's any new ones, just open and closed really permits.
And maybe even just a few words like, in process, 90% done, had additional, just something so we can sort of get a sense of where the projects are.
The expiration date, if it's still open, those kinds of
Um,
things.
One thing that I have a problem with that, and maybe you and I can work on that, is when everything was transitioned over from the county to here, they closed out every single permit.
Okay.
So when I came into that, I had no idea. So it's literally either I've stumbled upon, somebody's asked me, but I did not know.
Okay.
And so I've not taken the appropriate time that I need to do that. So maybe if,
I can make it easy for you because I have all those records that
Wonderful.
from our previous meetings when the county was working with us.
Okay.
So I'll just get that stuff to you.
okay,
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's gotta be a spreadsheet somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah,
one of those. Okay.
cool.
Is there any public comment concerning items not on the agenda? Hearing none, I move on to correspondence. Do we have any correspondence?
No.
All right. Is the DDA director here from the chamber for a report?
No.
The museum director is. Would you like, do you have anything to share, Mark?
I have nothing, thank you.
Okay, thanks for coming, though.
Yes.
Planning and zoning administrator?
Yes, so the statewide preservation conference. Didn't know if Angie or Catherine, were you able to bring your booklet with you about the conference?
Actually,
Okay.
yes.
So I did, on the last page of everybody's booklet that I printed out, it does have in there just the form, but all of you can either go online and review that, or she's brought that for all of you to kind of glance at. We only received 2 of them. I did sign up for just Friday, May 10th, and that is the one that I'm going to be attending. And it's the SHPO track and keynote speaker, and then I'm going to be doing the downtown commercial tour. And so I think that will be very beneficial for us here.
Yeah, if you go from that page that she gave us and go to the website, there's more information about what actually happens at each event. But there are scholarships available, and I tried to
Yes.
get a scholarship last year. And they didn't even respond to my email until after the conference, which was kind of sad. But-
Right, so we need to get that in early, so I can
Yeah.
get that done for you, yes.
So, basically, she's going to write a letter of recommendation that if we put something together that's just basic about the commission coming, on scholarship, there may be scholarships available for all of us. It covers your registration and your lodging. So if you want to jump in and
I
learn
am
more.
very interested in that also. I went through the book in detail, circled the items that I thought would be helpful for us as a commission and expand our knowledge on how we can continue to preserve the historic district and make sure that there's an educational component to the stakeholders and the building owners in the district to take advantage of all of the tax credits and the grants that are available to them, because I do think that we're not doing that right now. So,
Good. All right. The next, the Michigan Historical Preservation Network. So I just wanted to let you know that it was a price of $90, and it was a membership renewal, so I went ahead and did that for the 2024. So that membership has been renewed. I sent a letter of confirmation, so.
and I think with that membership, we also get free training webinars that we can do online that fulfill our education requirements for being commissioners.
And they also sent me this, actually, I just got this in the mail today, the Historical Resource Council 2023 directory. And then also, this is from the Historical Preservation Office. So I got those couple things too.
So since you bought that membership, basically for the commission,
Yes,
we
all
all
of
can
you.
enjoy the discounts?
Yes, correct. Yep.
Great, thank you.
The next item that I wanted to talk about is the training tracker. So I do have, and part of that was on the SHPO, that we did meet our qualifications of training. So it was the early 20th century architect looking to the past and to the future. But if anyone else has training or signs up for anything, make sure that you let me know so then I can continue that and log that in, so then we have that. So then that way, when I go to do the annual report next year, we've got all that documentation.
And again, those webinars are free because of our membership.
Yep. And then lastly, in September, I'm just giving you enough notice, that's when I do the annual report to City Council in September. And then Catherine, you'll be also giving a report, I think, at that time too. Yep.
You'll have to get me the dates on that. Probably just the September City Council meeting. I'll look it up.
Yeah, there's two of them.
Yeah, we'll have to see which one. I'm not sure which one.
I believe it's the one after Labor Day.
Okay.
That typically I give that talk, I give a talk about the museums.
Oh, okay, great.
That's
Two.
it, so we can partner up, Catherine or Teresa, and kind of go over some things.
All right, good, thank you.
Good, Mark, thanks. Next item on the agenda, is there anything that the commissioners would like to bring up?
We
So,
have a continuing absence of one of our members.
Yes.
Anybody have any information on Commissioner Rado?
Well, the only information that I have is I've put that towards Bill to ask and to put a letter together. I know Kelly has tried calling. There was a letter, just a courtesy letter. I've called, but there's been no response, nothing. I don't know if anybody else has heard anything, but after this meeting, the letter will go out.
So at this point, we don't even know if it's still in the community.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Heather might have some insight. I think his wife is an election worker. She might know something.
Okay. Well, I'm sure she probably would have passed that along, excuse me, because we've had it open, and that's how we've got the new member, but yeah, I don't know. I can still ask, but
But I don't believe as a commission we need to take any action on that. I think everything is done through the city manager.
yes.
Yes. Okay.
so I have a training stuff to ask about. So you got the CLG guidebook, and you can actually read that online. So I was reading it online, and two things came to mind. One is the fact that because we are what is called a certified local government, which means the state of Michigan has given this commission basically special recognition. There's what, maybe 15 of them in the state, and that leaves us available for things like additional trainings, funds for historic preservation projects, which if the city would want to partner with, another entity who's doing a project like the library. Or others, those,
Right.
we can fast track some federal funds that other communities can't apply for because we have the CLG, approval. Every 4 years, we're supposed to put together a new plan for Historic Preservation Commission, according to that. I have no idea when it was done last. It's just something I was reading. But one of the things that, that is in there is about the trainings. The Michigan Historic Preservation Network, the one who's actually holding this conference, if you look at their website, they offer all sorts of CLG trainings. And we can have actually one of their staff people come and do a training for basically how to be on a historic preservation commission. And, you know, I've been on another one, so sometimes I talk too much just because I've done it a lot for a long time. But there's tips and tools about how to do it best, and all of us probably would benefit from it. I know I would. And that is something that is like $200. And they come to your community, and they can do it as a workshop for commissioners, but they can also set it up and do it as like a workshop for the community. So it might be a great way to let our business owners or property owners on River Street and in the district know what it is that we do. So it's just $200. So that's like extremely efficient, as opposed to all of us spending $200 to go to the conference. So,
Right.
just as an idea, but there's other things too. So I wanted to bring that up in terms of stuff that we could be doing just to make ourselves all better informed.
We have had on-site trainings before. I don't think that any of the current commissioners were on the commission except me at that point. But yes, it's very helpful.
Good.
I don't
Okay.
know what our budget is. I don't know that we have a budget, but
Right.
it would be a useful thing.
It might be.
I'll be talking to her.
Teresa,
Yes.
It might be a good idea to talk to the Chamber of Commerce about the DDA, because the person who was in charge of the DDA before the chamber is no longer with the chamber.
Correct.
Right.
And I'm not sure what their plans are, who's currently been assigned that task or whatever, but we should know it and let them know that we do have an expectation of having a periodic report, which was done very, very infrequently before. As a matter of fact, I think only once.
Yeah, and knowing that there's pools of money out there that we could apply for, and just not getting our act together in terms of doing some regular planning, it would be sad to see the CLG go away because we're not doing what's in the rules. So,
And we're not tapping into the resources that are available to us, which is really sad. So hopefully that can be one of our goals for the next couple of years, is to really educate ourselves on what money is available for our stakeholders.
Sounds good.
But in order to do that, we first have to educate ourselves. Any other member discussions?
Nothing.
So we have a work session on the agenda,
Yeah, it shouldn't be on there.
okay?
I was having a
I was
very
kind of excited
bad
about it.
day on that day. I had everything goofed up on it. My apologies. She's my witness. Oh, she had to keep emailing me, Teresa, you have this wrong. Teresa, this is incorrect. Oh, Teresa, change this.
So
Sorry.
having said that, though, if we do come together as a commission for educational opportunities with SHPO, does it have to be during a work session? Because we will have a quorum?
So normally, and I guess correct me if anybody else knows, normally you would do that ahead of time, or you would stop the meeting, have it, and then come back to the meeting? Do you know, Lee? No? Or we've just had it as a actual work session. Like I'm having something with my planning commission in April. We're going to be doing a site plan review with Michigan State Extension Office with Mary Riley. And so we're coming together, all of us, and it's just for that, and it's a class, so we're gonna be out together, so,
And not during your regular commission
Nope.
time? So
nope, yeah,
that's kind of a,
I just want to make
Yeah.
sure we don't violate any.
When
Right.
training was done before, it was outside of the regular meetings. It
Yep.
was sort of a regularly scheduled event.
mm-hmm,
And I might add, very poorly attended, if I remember correctly.
mm-hmm,
But we ought to keep that in mind so that we can maximize the attendance.
mm-hmm.
You know, that we come up with some kind of time and date that's reasonably acceptable to people. I like the idea of having sessions that include the community. I think it'd be entirely worthwhile to have people from the merchants group and from the DDA
Right,
especially, you know, and if we could get, you know, people from the construction industry and real estate and that too, that'd really be great.
so something I was just thinking about while talking about this, where is the other closest historical district that maybe we could join together to save money on having a class or invite, or that we could meet and have discussion? Would it be Traverse City or
Frankfurt,
Frankfurt?
do they
Okay.
have a, do
I'm guessing.
they have a local historic district?
Okay,
I don't know. Now we all have homework.
yeah, so.
Probably has one.
Huntington, no. Well, and I only asked that because when I was planning and zoning in Muskegon, we were having a big hot topic and discussion about solar energy. And so I said, you know what, I bet you a lot of other communities that are small have the same questions and everything else, and so we invited all of them, and I ended up having 80 people from all over, and they carpooled, and we were there, and I actually, you know, had sub sandwiches, so made an event out of it, and then talking afterwards, and it was great. So we could do something like that.
So Ludington and Frankfurt do not have historic districts. In our region, it's Charlevoix, Grand Traverse County, Wexford County, and Manistee.
And then Hart and Oceana, and I don't know where Everett is.
Muskegon, Greenville, Grand
The other
Rapids,
side of the city.
Got it.
Okay,
But Hart,
Saugatuck.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't hurt, though, to reach out to them and say, hey, what kind of classes do you have to offer? And if we can carpool and go or something, you know, or invite them here.
All good
That'd be good.
discussion, I think, is all very important for the future of our historic district.
We can always learn from what they've done, too.
Anything else from the commissioners?
No, move we adjourn.
Support? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you.